Hey guys, this is Anant here, and I have Tarun with me, and this is another episode of FootballChacha Unscripted. We are lucky enough to have Tanvie Hans, the current midfielder with Bangalore United in the Indian Women's League, and ex Tottenham FC ladies and Fulham FC ladies, with us joining today for this discussion. So, hey Tanvie, how have you been? What is the quarantine period been for you? What have you been up to?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I've just been, like I said, I've just been trying to keep myself busy during this quarantine period, stay connected to the sport, and obviously making sure that my fitness stays up there as well during the quarantine period. So, I think that's pretty much what I've been doing every day, making sure that I stay fit, I stay active, I stay connected to football. Staying connected with my team, that's very important to me. And obviously at the end of the day, I know this is a difficult financial moment for most companies and most industries and things,
Correct.
And even as far as my company is concerned, I just launched a company with a friend of mine just when quarantine started. So I think we've been lucky. We got very creative with our opportunities while staying home. So just been busy trying to make sure the company's running well, and at the same time that I'm taking care of my fitness and stuff as well. So yeah.
Sure. It's great to hear. So, could you let us know a little bit more about your recent startup?
So it's actually a company called Sistersinsweat.
Okay, awesome.
It's a community of women. Basically, all the trainers as well as all the clients, everything are just women. So Our tagline is basically a community of women for women, stitched together by sport and wellness. So basically, this started when I moved to Bangalore in 2017. At the end of 2017, I met a lady here in Bangalore. So I basically know my friend Shweta Subaya. She's a fitness trainer. She's a Nike certified fitness trainer. And I met her through Nike, basically. And when I moved to Bangalore, she immediately was, the person that I went to because I knew her through Nike and everything. Right. Anyways, at the end of 2017, she introduced me to a friend of hers. And she introduced me as a footballer to this friend, Shunali. So obviously when Shunali heard that I'm a footballer, she got really excited, and she said that, okay, fine, why don't you do a session for me and a few of my female friends, teach us some football. So I said, okay, fine. So we booked a small 5-a-side ground, and Shweta and I didn't really expect that more than 3 or 4 women might turn up for this one session or whatever. But to our surprise, 17 women turned up for that one session.
That's awesome.
And these all women who were in their 30s, and some of them are mothers and stuff. And they really enjoyed the session. 1.5 hour session we did. Half an hour Shweta did fitness with them. Then 1 hour I did football with them. So 1.5 hour session. They really enjoyed it. This was at the end of 2017. Right. And then they sort of demanded for us to continue sessions like this every week. So basically this happened organically. Then since the end of 2017, we've been doing a football session with these ladies since every weekend. Yeah. And then it just grew. The number of women that started becoming involved just grew naturally. And now from 17 women, now we're over 350 women.
Right.
So the community is just grown by itself. And I think we noticed that it's just organically growing, and there's so much opportunity here. And we're actually able to make a difference in the lives of these women through sport, and it's really becoming a very a space for empowerment for a female family and all that. So Shweta and I decided to incorporate this into an actual company. And that happened earlier this year.
You got a couple of months late, I guess.
Sorry?
You got a couple of months late, I guess.
Just a couple of months late?
Yeah.
So actually, we were very lucky because we launched our website and everything, incorporated and everything. And then quarantine happened. So all the legal aspects and everything was all covered. And then quarantine happened. So the good thing is we were incorporated, everything was officially done.
Right.
And then it was just when quarantine happened, then it was just about, okay, how do we, now that we can't do our physical sessions, now how do we keep the community engaged? So
Yeah.
fortunately, we've been using this time very well, and we've entered now not just football, but we've kept the community engaged through. Now on Mondays we have Pilates, on Wednesday Shweta handles fitness, on Sundays we have dance, and I'm going to restart my football virtual sessions on Fridays. So that way through the week, like the ladies have something to do, like, on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Friday, on a Sunday. So the community is staying engaged,
Yeah.
and, our social media has been very active as well. So our communities grow. Actually, this period has been fantastic for our company. We've grown so much because of the engagement online. So yeah, I think that's kept me very busy. And the good thing is, because our company is actually fitness based and wellness based, and all that, it actually helps me also stay in shape because of what
Right.
we do.
And very
So yeah,
critical for
I mean,
you.
I think
Right. So
Given,
like
given.
you
correct.
said,
Yeah.
like you said, you started with expecting about 3 women, and 17 women turned up that day. So what? And now it has grown up to now 500, 350 women. So
300.
what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think is inspiring these women to come and take up fitness? Because I think it's a way of them expressing themselves. Maybe they're able to express themselves here. What do you think is the leading factor which is increasing the importance of fitness amongst grown women, not just young girls?
I think this is a trend that you might be noticing, not just with women. It's just, I think everyone in general in the world is becoming a little bit more health conscious. And I think, there was a phase like a few years ago, maybe a decade ago, where, they would look at someone who is thin, who has a thin body, and be like, oh my God, they are so fit. But actually they may not be fit. They are just thin,
Right.
But now people are identifying that, okay, thin does not mean fit. And people are just more educated now on what being healthy means, the importance of being healthy. And of course, especially in a time like COVID, where, everyone needs to be very health conscious right now. Their immunity is the most important thing. So I think for everybody right now, looking after themselves physically, and even as far as nutrition is concerned and things like that, it's all very important. And I think it's just a wave right now, with not just with women. It's nice to see that women are definitely very conscious. Even we have so many mothers in our community,
Absolutely.
new mothers, and some mothers who have teenage daughters and stuff, some older women as well.
Right.
And you can see it's just a general pattern now that health has become very important, and not just having like a thin body or like a fit body, but actually truly feeling good has become very important. So I think these sessions, because it's exclusively for women, and the only people at these sessions are women, and everyone slowly starts knowing each other, because it is a community at the end of the day. I think they enjoy that aspect. And our social media, if you ever go onto our Sisters in Sweat Instagram, it's very interactive. We have stories, like we have 10-12 stories going out every day, because we have sessions every second day. So after the sessions are over, all the ladies are taking selfies, and we repost those selfies. So it becomes very relatable, and it becomes fun. It becomes about like having like a female family. Yes, you're training in your own house, but you're training on the screen with 20 other women who eventually you slowly get to see every week, and you get to know them. So it's just I think it's all these things put together. And
Yes. So taking this chain of thought forward, I thought, see, this is basically trying to basically build a culture of fitness and maybe affinity to the sport. Do you think that is critical to take India to the level football is in England? I mean, what difference do you see between the two countries?
So obviously Sisters in Sweat, what I'm talking about, the community and the company that I have, these
Right.
are not like aspiring footballers. These are women who are interested, who are interested in staying fit, and we are providing them different avenues and different methods of staying fit,
Yes.
in a fun and in a safe space. As far as football is concerned, professional football. So my experience in England, as opposed to what I experience here in India is, I think the biggest difference is not a lack of talent. There is so much talent here, and there are a lot of women who I know in the Indian football circuit who would easily make it in England. But the only thing is that there is a lack of consistency here, in the sense that we don't have a year-long league or a year-long competition.
Yeah,
Our competitions last for like, all put together, including our national tournaments, including our state tournaments, including the Indian Women's League. Maybe we are engaged in competitive sport for about 3 months, 4 months at the most, which is not sufficient. If you want to perform at the international level, you have the talent, you have you have the passion, you have all these things, but if you don't provide that year-long competitive opportunity, then I don't think that you can expect to play against teams that harbor girls and harbor talent at the age of 8 or 9. They're scouting girls at 8 or 9 and providing them training throughout the year and competitions throughout the year. So you can imagine, once these girls who are 8, 9 years old, by the time they're 16 and 17 ready for the senior team, how much experience they already have.
Right.
So you can't compete against girls like that. Then even though our Indian girls might be very talented, they don't have the experience that these girls have.
I think this is a very common theme that whomsoever we talk about who are involved in Indian football, they all say that we have talent, but what we're lacking is a grassroots infrastructure. So what are your thoughts on that? Are we investing enough, or is there an improvement in the football grassroots level for men and both women in India? Do you think there's an improvement there? Because we believe that is where we should invest. Because if, like you said, if you start training young children at a very young age professionally, by the time they get 16, 17, they would have matches under their legs. So then they would be able to perform in situations. So do you think we have good infrastructure? If not, are we working towards it?
So see, I'll tell you what, there is an improvement for sure. There is no doubt that there is an improvement. In fact, when I came back so I was in England playing for 3 years. When I came back at the end of the 3 years, I was playing with girls in Delhi who I'd never seen before. They were so much younger than me, and they were new to the football circuit. And for me, that in itself was an eye-opener for me, because when I had left, I knew everybody. I knew all the girls. It's the same group of girls that just kept playing. But I came back after 3 years, and there were so many new faces, so many younger girls, school girls, college girls that were picking up the sport. And for me, that definitely shows that there is an interest at that level, and more schools are playing competitions now. More schools are creating women's teams, and more colleges are playing competitions and things like that. So I think it's definitely it's growing. It's moving in the right direction. The only thing is that there are so many more things involved in order for this to be successful. You need to have an ecosystem, and you need to have infrastructure and stuff that supports this in the long term. And not just have like one-off competitions and things like that, but to actually create a pathway for the future for these girls. So they should know, okay, fine, so I am 14 years old right now. I'm playing for my school team. Right now I'm playing for my under 16 state team. Okay, so what is the next step for me? They should know. They should have something to aspire to. So I think that's what it is. I think just having that pathway very clear would be good. Yeah.
So I believe it would have been a very interesting proposition for you to be playing in England and continuing with Tottenham and Fulham. But what motivated you to come back to India? I mean, what was the pulling factor? I mean, was it to grow the sport at a grassroots level, or?
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, there's nothing exact. So actually, when I decided to go to England and give trials for the clubs, at that time, I had only thought that I go there for 1 year. First of all, there's no guarantee that I would make it to any of the teams, but I worked very hard. So, fortunately, I gave trials for like 3 clubs, and 2 of them liked me. But the idea was that I would get exposure, sort of experience, grow as a player for one season. I thought I'd go and experience that for one season, but one season became two. I changed clubs and I was there for 3 seasons in total between two clubs. So I think I remember when I spoke about going out to England and to give trials for these clubs and stuff. I told him I'd spoken to him about just 1 year. Because eventually in my mind, I always wanted to come back to India. It wasn't like I wanted to go and settle in England or, that I wanted like a forever career in England. I wanted to experience it, grow as a player. I knew I would be one of very few people to have that rare opportunity. And I wanted to bring that back. That was always my thought. And so after 3 seasons, I felt ready. I felt like I had experience playing for 2 different clubs now with completely different management systems and things, and I wanted to bring that back. So when I came back, I didn't think that I'd try and change or make a difference in the grassroots or anything. I just knew that I had to impart whatever I could. So even now, like for example, you guys on Instagram, right? So the same way, like I opened my social media when I was in England so that people can reach me. And even now, I make sure I respond to all the people that I can, just in case they have any questions about what to do next in life or things like that. So that's sort of my small way of contributing, because I don't know if you guys know, but I have a foreign citizenship. I have a UK passport, which is why I can't actually play for India. So I can't, that's the highest level that you can play in the country. Like you can play for the country. That's like the highest level you can play.
Yes, absolutely.
So because I can't play that. So at every other level that I can play, which is state level, club level, and all the competitions in between. Anytime I interact with people, anytime I'm captaining any team, I really, really try and push them to my level, as much as I can. And you can ask any of my teammates that I am not easy on them. I'm not easy on them at all.
We actually read somewhere that you captained men's team full of men in a football league in Bangalore sometime back.
Yeah, the amateur league. Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure you must be tough. So, so moving on. So all of kids would want to know, how did you end up playing football? You're back in Delhi. Delhi mein the aap. It's not a sports culture in India. We don't have a lot of sport culture. So how did you end up playing football? Maybe young kids today don't know whether they can follow sport for a longer duration as a career. So how did you end up? How has your journey been? If you could walk us through that.
Right. So I've pretty much always been sporty. So I have an older brother. He's a year and a half older than me. He was always very athletic. And I used to just hang out with him. And, he had a huge influence on me.
Yeah.
And I used to always want to do what the boys were doing, what he was doing. I wanted to do it better than them, So, So basically, ever since I was small, I've been very athletic and I've been very sporty. And I used to pick up sports very easily. Even now, like if you, not just football, but if you give me any sport to play, like I enjoy it, and I am competitive by nature. So I think, so I've pretty much always been sporty, and I think I was fortunate that the school I went to in Delhi, which is Vasant Valley School, used to offer a lot of sports. They were very sports driven, actually, extracurricular activity driven. So at the age of 8 or 9 is when I probably sort of saw the sport of football. And I immediately sort of, I don't know, I just had like a very natural connection with it. And at that time, girls were not playing in Delhi, so I just played with the boys. I started playing with the boys. And then fortunately, our school formed a girls team eventually. And because...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you instigated that?
I mean, I was probably one of the first girls to play in the school. So
That's
then,
awesome.
A few girls started picking it up, and we created a team.
Yeah.
And because we were the first team, first school in Delhi that started a girls football team. The state team basically was our school team. So at the age of 13 or 14 is when I played for the under 14 Delhi state team. And that's sort of like where my competitive journey sort of started. I realized that obviously there's national level competition, there's a lot of talent in this country, all those things. That was like when like my
Again, I think it went off. So I'll just
yeah.
take up the next question. Take up the next question.
Yeah.
That question was maybe unlucky for the internet. So we basically recently did a interview with someone called Mr. Ranjit Bajaj. He was the owner of Minerva Punjab FC. So what discussions we were discussing about what could be done to grow the grassroots in it for Indian football and all of that. So his point of view was that India as a country tends to only focus towards the men's side of things, whereas if we put our focus towards the women's football team, they've been doing great stuff over the past few years. There's been excellent improvement, and we can maybe get to the World Cup closer with the women's team than with the men's team. So as far as that is concerned, but that maybe from my perspective would start at a much lower level. I mean, we would obviously what you're trying to do is build a culture of sport, but collectively as football proponents and fans of the game, we should be. I mean, my personal view is that we should be starting. Maybe the AIFF should start building an under-7 academy or an under-8 or a younger age group of children who can start with the sport and maybe start playing it with a target to maybe get to the World Cup in the next second or third edition from this year. So how do you think India can do if we refocus our attention towards such things?
Towards women?
Yeah, towards women football and maybe towards women football in the World Cup and on an international stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Our ranking is better than the men's by like double.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is despite the fact competitive period of the year national players only 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get these girls to actually train throughout the year and stay competitive throughout the year, what ranking we can actually reach within 5 years, you know?
Absolutely.
So if you provide the right ecosystem and the right infrastructure, the right coaching for the longer duration of the year, these girls can, I mean, the national team can honestly be in the top 20, I think, within the decade, I think. Okay.
Wow.
And this is because I've interacted with the best talent that we have in the country, and I've played in England also, so I know the talent level there as well. The only thing, like I said, that is different is opportunity, is the continuity through the year, the consistency of practice, of training, of competition.
The pathway.
Yeah. Okay. And it would be, I would think, a very realistic goal to have the women reach the World Cup, I think, within the next 20 years.
So I personally believe that sport is very empowering. I think especially for women, especially for girls, because sport is something that perhaps boys and men more naturally take to, and it's seen as a more, just a more male area of activity. But I really feel that sport really teaches you how to deal with success, how to deal with failure, how to deal with loss, and all those things very early in life. And, you know, in that sense, it is very empowering. It is quite an important tool to have, because these are things that you can never learn in a textbook. You know, that competitive nature, because once you go out into the real world, whether it's in your job or whether it's in any other any other sphere of life, there is competition, there is going to be failure, there is going to be success and all those things. And sport all in one sort of just helps you experience all these things, and it helps you break those barriers, really mature, really grow, evolve, and in that sense it is a very empowering tool for anyone to have, especially for women, because we already have so many barriers, so many restrictions on us, because so many things are considered not feminine, or immediately if a girl is seen playing sport, she's called a tomboy and things like that. So I think just breaking on all those judgments and breaking all those barriers is what sport does very easily, very naturally, and it brings in that competitive spirit and the ability to deal with things in life. So yes, it's definitely very empowering. My little note to everybody who wants to pursue a career in anything they enjoy, in their passion, whether it be sport or any other part, or any other industry, is just simply believe in yourself, and you got to put in the hard work. You got to stay the course. This is what I always say. There will be difficult days. There will be days where people don't believe in you. There will be days where you don't perform well. But you can't stop believing in yourself, and you have to stay on that course. And in time, it could be a lot later than you expected, but in time, you will see the fruits of your effort. So just make sure you keep working hard, believe in yourself, and expect difficult days, but honestly, you will not enjoy the good days without the difficult days. So that's what I'll say. And thank you guys for having me on this chat. It was fun, it was enjoyable, and I hope that everyone that listens in finds it useful as well. All right, take care. Bye.